What happens when two of Korea's most beloved stars disappear from the spotlight, only to return as newlyweds? Breaking. Dara and Jung Il-woo tie the knot in secret wedding that shocks the nation. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we dive behind the closed doors of this whirlwind romance and uncover every stunning detail right now. It began as an ordinary evening in Seoul. The air was cool with the faint scent of spring blossoms drifting in from the Han River. The streets calm and unhurried. But inside certain private group chats and celebrity watch forums, a ripple was already forming, an unconfirmed message. The kind that comes in all caps with more exclamation points than words. Dara and Jung Il-woo, wedding. Tonight. At first, few believed it. Dara, eternal girl crush of K-pop, with her youthful glow and mischievous energy, had never once hinted she was ready to settle down. Jung Il-woo, the charismatic leading man with a smile that could disarm even the most guarded heart, had long been the subject of romantic rumors, but never anything concrete enough to pin down. The idea of them marrying, not dating, not maybe seeing each other, but tying the knot, seemed too unreal to be true. Then came the photographs. Grainy at first. Snapped from a distance by someone who clearly hadn't expected to catch history in the making. A cream-colored luxury sedan parked outside an old Gothic-style church in a quiet district of Seoul. Flower arrangements, white roses and baby's breath, lined the short walkway to the doors. And there, in the center of one blurred frame, a woman in a simple, sleeveless ivory gown stepping out of the car. Her hair pulled back into a graceful chignon, a veil cascading down her back. Behind her, a tall figure in a perfectly cut black tuxedo offered his hand to help her down. Even in low resolution, faces were unmistakable. Within minutes, Twitter was on fire. Dara Jung Il-woo wedding leapt to the top of Korea's trending topics and began spreading to international fan bases. Instagram lit up with speculative posts. TikTok filled with hastily edited slideshows. YouTube reaction channels scrambled to go live. The location itself added to the intrigue. Church, St. Augustine's, was a hidden gem known to host only a handful of ceremonies each year, most of them for families with personal ties to its clergy. Its arched wooden doors and candlelit interior gave it the air of something out of a vintage film. That night, the usual quiet street was cordoned off by polite but firm security staff. A small crowd gathered across the road, waiting to catch a glimpse through the narrow gaps in the hedges. From those lucky enough to be inside, whispers began to leak. The guest list, reportedly under 50 people, read like a who's who of trusted friends and family. No flashy idols or overexposed actors, just the people who had walked alongside Dara and Jung Il-woo in their private lives. Phones were strictly forbidden. A few rogue snapshots emerged nonetheless, Dara standing at the altar with a soft, serene smile, Jung Il-woo looking directly into her eyes as if the rest of the world had ceased to exist. The two of them exchanging vows beneath a simple wooden cross bathed in golden candlelight. One guest, speaking anonymously to an entertainment columnist, described the atmosphere as overwhelmingly intimate. Could feel it in the air, they said. It wasn't about spectacle or proving anything. It was about them. Every detail. Choice, it was theirs, for each other. The end of the evening. More details trickled out. The reception took place in a private room at a nearby boutique hotel, decorated with fairy lights and soft floral centerpieces. The menu featured Dara's favorite seafood dishes and a dessert table curated by Jung Il-woo himself, known among friends for his love of baking. At one point, he was seen cutting slices of cake and personally delivering them to the older guests, a small gesture that spoke volumes about the night's unpretentious tone. For the fans outside, putting together the truth was like assembling a puzzle from half-formed images and fleeting eyewitness accounts. There was still no official statement from either star or their agencies. Some speculated this silence was a way to extend the magic of their secret before it inevitably became public property. Others suspected the couple simply wanted a head start on their new life before facing the relentless attention of the media. But the most haunting image came from a bystander across the street. Just as the evening ended, and the newlyweds emerged from the church into the crisp night air. Was beneath the archway. Dara reached up to adjust her veil. Jung Il-woo leaned down and whispered something only she could hear. Her face broke into a smile so radiant, seemed to light the street. In that split second, a photographer clicked the shutter, and in that stolen frame, the truth was undeniable. This wasn't a publicity stunt or a half-truth to feed the gossip columns. This was real. The nation, still in shock, to sleep with one question echoing in their minds: how did they keep it hidden, and for how long had this love been quietly growing? The answer, as it turned out, began 3 years earlier at a charity gala neither had planned to attend. Dara had been asked last minute to replace a fellow artist recovering from illness, while Jung Il-woo came as a favor to an old friend on the organizing committee. Fate, or something like it, placed them at the same table. She remembered his easy laughter, he remembered the way she listened intently to every speaker, her chin resting lightly on her hand. From that night, their paths crossed again and again, sometimes at industry functions, sometimes in the unlikeliest of places. Night bookstore in Tokyo, where they both happened to be browsing on separate schedules. A flight from Seoul to Jeju. Seated 3 rows apart. Slowly, cautiously, they began to talk. According to a close friend, the relationship was built in whispers. Small cafes instead of luxury restaurants. Walks along the Han River under the cover of night. Messages sent in the quiet hours between filming and rehearsals. They didn't want to hide because they were ashamed. Friend clarified. They hid because they wanted it to be theirs. Untouched. Decision to marry came quietly too. Over breakfast one rainy Sunday. No elaborate proposal. No flash mob or viral video. Just Jung Il-woo sliding a small velvet box across the table and Dara opening it to find a simple gold band. I want you to have this, he told her. Because you're already my home. Planning the wedding was an exercise in secrecy. They enlisted only a handful of trusted friends to help, booking Street. Augustine's months in advance under a code name. Invitations were handwritten. Each one delivered by hand. Vendors signed strict confidentiality agreements. Even their families were sworn to silence until 2 weeks before the ceremony. On the day itself, the most emotional moment came during the vows. Dara, her voice trembling, Jung Il-woo for being the one constant in a world that never stopped moving. When the lights go out and the stage is empty. Still there, she said, her eyes glistening. Jung Il-woo, fighting back his own tears, replied simply, "You are my beginning and my end." Guests later said there wasn't a dry eye in the church. The wedding, their agencies finally broke the silence with a joint statement. We are happy to confirm that Dara and Jung Il-woo were married in a private ceremony attended by family and close friends. We ask for your continued support and respect for their privacy as they begin this new chapter together. The public reaction was a mixture of shock, joy, and a touch of wistfulness. Longtime fans of each star flooded social media with congratulatory posts, fan art, and even videos compiling their past interactions as proof they were destined for each other all along. Few lamented not knowing sooner, but most agreed that the secrecy had preserved something rare and precious. In the weeks that followed, pieces of their newly married life began to emerge. A photograph of them walking hand in hand through Incheon Airport on their way to an undisclosed honeymoon destination. A candid shot, reportedly taken by a neighbor. A couple grocery shopping in comfortable sweats. Dara laughing at something Il-woo had said. Each image was like a postcard from a story still being written. And while the speculation inevitably turned to whether children might be in their future, the couple offered no answers, only smiles and a shared glance whenever the question arose. It was as if they were telling the world, without words, some things are meant to be ours, for now. Months later, at a charity event much like the one where they had first met, Dara and Jung Il-woo appeared together on stage. Fingers intertwined, as they addressed the crowd about their joint philanthropic project. A reporter shouted from the back, "Are you happy?" Dara's laugh rang out clear as a bell. "Happier than I ever thought possible," she replied, squeezing Il-woo's hand. And that, perhaps, was the heart of it. In a world where every detail is often shared, commodified, and consumed, they had found a way to keep the most important moments just for themselves, until they were ready to let the rest of us in. The shock of their secret wedding would fade in time. Memory of it, the whispered vows, the candlelit church. They looked at each other as if nothing else mattered, would linger in the nation's heart for years to come. Thank you for reading this story all the way to the end. Time and support mean everything. Stay tuned for more unforgettable moments. And let's continue sharing the love for the stars we cherish.